Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Growth Mindset podcast. Have you ever found it difficult to stay focused while studying or working? If yes, then this episode is for you. Nowadays, we are surrounded by distractions: our phones, social media, emails, and even our own thoughts. It can be really hard to concentrate and get things done. That's why today we are going to talk about how to improve focus and work smarter. And to help us with this, we have a special guest, Michael, who has learned many useful techniques to improve focus and productivity. Welcome, Michael.
Hi, Emma. Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I think focus is one of the most important skills we need in life. If you can improve your focus, you can work more efficiently, finish your tasks faster, and feel less stressed. I used to struggle a lot with distractions, but after trying different techniques, I found some great ways to improve my concentration.
That sounds amazing. I think many people feel the same way. In your opinion, why do so many people struggle with focus these days?
There are three main reasons. First, digital distractions. We are always connected to our phones, social media, and emails. Every few minutes, we get a new notification, and we feel the need to check it immediately. This breaks our concentration and makes it harder to get back to work. Second, lack of clear planning. Many people don't make a to-do list or set priorities, so they don't know where to start. They jump from one task to another and end up wasting time. Finally, mental fatigue. When we work too much without proper breaks, our brains get tired. This makes it difficult to stay focused for long periods.
That makes so much sense. I often check my phone for just a minute, but then I end up scrolling on social media for 20 minutes without realizing it. So, what can we do to improve our focus?
There are many techniques, but here are three simple ones that anyone can try. The Pomodoro technique. Work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 cycles, take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. This helps keep your brain fresh and prevents burnout. Turn off notifications and create a quiet space. If you really need to focus, put your phone on silent mode or place it in another room. Also, try to work in a quiet place to avoid interruptions. Write down your tasks and prioritize them. Before you start your day, list 3 to 5 important things you need to do. Focus on the most important task first and avoid multitasking.
These tips sound really useful. I've heard of the Pomodoro technique before, but I've never actually tried it. Do you think it works for everyone?
Not necessarily. Some people find that 25 minutes is too short. In that case, you can try longer focus periods, like the 52/17 method, where you work for 52 minutes and take a 17-minute break. The key is to experiment and see what works best for you.
That makes sense. Now, let's talk about students. Many students say they sit down to study, but after just a few minutes, they lose focus. What advice would you give them?
I completely understand. Studying can be difficult, especially when there are so many distractions. Here are some tips. Remove distractions. Keep your phone in another room or use an app like Forest to block notifications. The fewer distractions, the easier it is to focus. Set clear study goals. Instead of saying, "I will study for 2 hours," say, "I will read and summarize chapter 3 in 30 minutes. Specific goals make studying more effective. Use active learning techniques. Don't just read your notes. Try summarizing the information in your own words, explaining it to someone else, or using flashcards. Take smart breaks. After studying for 45 to 60 minutes, take a short break to refresh your mind. Walk around, drink some water, or stretch before continuing.
That sounds really helpful. Many students think that just reading their textbooks is enough, but using active learning techniques seems like a much better way to remember information.
Exactly. Reading alone is passive, which means you forget things more quickly. But when you summarize, explain, or quiz yourself, your brain processes the information better and remembers it for a longer time.
Now, let's talk about working professionals. Many people have busy schedules and are constantly distracted by emails or meetings. How can they improve their focus?
Good question. If you're a working professional, here are some things you can do. Time blocking. Schedule specific times for different tasks. For example, check emails in the morning, Do deep work before lunch and have meetings in the afternoon. This helps you focus on one thing at a time. Task batching. Instead of switching between different tasks, try grouping similar ones together. For example, reply to all emails at once instead of checking your inbox every 5 minutes. Avoid unnecessary meetings. If an issue can be solved through an email or a short message, don't schedule a meeting. Many meetings waste time and reduce productivity.
I love these suggestions. I know so many people who spend their whole day in meetings and then struggle to complete their real work.
Exactly. Learning to manage your time better can make a big difference in your productivity. And don't forget to take care of your health too. Getting enough sleep, eating well, and exercising all help improve focus and mental clarity.
That's so true. People often forget that their lifestyle affects their ability to concentrate. What about motivation? Some people say they can't focus because they don't feel motivated.
Motivation is great, but you can't rely on it all the time. Some days you will feel motivated, but other days you won't. That's why discipline and good habits are more important. If you build a routine and remove distractions, you won't need to wait for motivation to start working.
That's a great reminder. So, to sum up, we need to reduce distractions, plan our tasks wisely, take care of our health, and build strong habits. Do you have any final advice for our listeners?
Yes, the most important thing is to take action. Don't just listen. Try at least one of these techniques today. Even small changes can make a big difference over time.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing these practical tips. I hope our listeners try them out and start seeing improvements in their work and studies.
Thanks, Emma. It was great talking to you. I hope everyone finds these tips useful.
All right, now let's take a closer look at some of the words we used during our conversation. I'll explain their meanings and give you some examples to make everything clear. First up, we have distractions. These are things that pull your attention away from what you're focusing on, like notifications on your phone or noise in the background. For example, the sound of my phone vibrating was such a distraction when I was trying to finish my work. Next, concentration. This is the ability to keep your mind focused on one task without getting sidetracked. For instance, when I need to finish something important, concentration is key. I make sure there's no noise around me. Now, Pomodoro technique. It's a time management method where you work for 25 minutes and then take a short break. After 4 cycles, you take a longer break. It's great for staying productive without burning out. For example, using the Pomodoro technique helped me get through my tasks without feeling overwhelmed. Mental fatigue is the next term. It happens when your brain gets tired from working too much without enough rest. When you feel mentally drained, it's hard to stay focused. For example, after hours of reading, I started feeling mental fatigue and had to take a break. Then there's prioritize. This means deciding which tasks are most important and tackling those first. For example, when I'm swamped with work, I always prioritize the most urgent tasks. Active learning is another important term. It's when you engage with what you're learning, like summarizing or teaching someone else. It helps you remember and understand better. For example, I use active learning by explaining what I've learned to my friends, and it really helps me retain the information. Moving on to time blocking. This is when you set aside specific blocks of time to work on different tasks, which helps you stay organized. For example, I use time blocking to make sure I dedicate enough time for each project without getting distracted. Then there's task batching, which is when you group similar tasks together and do them all at once. It saves time and keeps you focused. For example, I always batch my emails, replying to them all at once instead of checking them throughout the day. Procrastination is something many of us struggle with. It's when we put off tasks, often because they seem too difficult or overwhelming. For example, I kept procrastinating on that report, but once I broke it into smaller tasks, it wasn't so bad. Finally, productivity is all about how much you accomplish in a given amount of time. If you stay focused and organized, you can boost your productivity. For example, I'm always looking for ways to improve my productivity, like minimizing distractions and planning my day carefully. So there you have it, I hope that helps clear things up. These are all useful concepts to keep in mind when you want to stay focused and get more done. Alright, that's it for today's vocabulary breakdown. I hope these explanations helped you understand the words we used in the discussion and how they can make a big difference in staying focused and productive. Remember, the more you practice using these terms, the easier it will be to apply them in your everyday life. So don't forget to try them out the next time you're working or studying. Thanks for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more content like this. We'd love to hear how you use these techniques in your routine, so feel free to leave a comment below. See you next time and stay focused.